Samurai Champloo, Death Note, Code Geass, Bacano, Gurren Lagann, Soul Eater, Black Lagoon, Boku no Pico. What does these shows have in common? They're all from the golden age of anime. And they have pretty boys. So the early 2000s is widely considered the golden age of anime due to the amount of high quality classics that came out during this time period. Now during the golden age, I was still a little baby playing with my Lego building set 6166 that I got for Christmas and playing Happy Feet for the PlayStation 2, dying to that stupid sea lion. By the time I got into anime, in the 5th or 6th grade, Attack on Titan has already become popular. However, when I was getting into anime, a lot of it was still from that era, and a good amount of them was on Netflix. So thanks Netflix. But please add Bacano. There was a good amount of them that I watched, and a good amount that I haven't watched. Like to this day, I still haven't watched Code Geass, or a bunch of other shows, and I probably never will out of a lack of interest. But that's okay, I think I'll be fine without watching some classics. So anyways, after getting brutally destroyed with pitchforks today, I like to talk about some of the animes that I did watch. The first one that comes to mind is Soul Eater. Soul Eater. Soul Eater. What is there to hate about this show? Other than, of course, Soul Eater probably has one of the dumbest ideas, but somehow made it the coolest freaking thing ever. Now it's been a while since I've seen it, but the basic plot is people can turn into weapons. Yeah, that's it basically. Okay, so I may be oversimplifying it, but that is the basic premise. Although there is a lot of things that I wonder about the whole changing into a weapon thing. Like, what classifies as a weapon? Can someone turn into a brick or a pillow? Just saying. There's just something special about. There's just something. There's just something special about this series that I could just keep watching. From the characters, the fight scenes, the story, Blair. Soul Eater was a bit later in the golden age though, so let's talk about a show that's more in the middle, that I watched not too long ago. Samurai Champloo. Now I'm surprised that I haven't watched this show until recently, but man was it an experience. Each episode was amazingly directed, fight animation is some of the best from the era, or at least in terms of basic sword fighting. The main trio is super likable. This flying squirrel thing is the most cutest thing I've ever seen. I want to pinch its cheeks and give it some nice food, maybe read some bedtime stories. Sorry, I got carried away. The music is amazing and make for some great background music for YouTube videos. And it also reminds me of this era in general for some reason, I don't really know why. And Mugen is just the coolest dude around. Sorry Levi, I got someone new to worship now. And this may seem a bit controversial, but personally, I think it's better than Cowboy Bebop. Hey, you like jazz? Well, I got a show for you. It's a little show called Bacano. Another show I missed out on, but I think I was a bit too young for it at the time, even though I watched all of these back then. I watched Barefoot again when I was 6. But whatever, now I've always wanted to watch Bacano because I was a massive fan of Durarara, and I knew that it was in the same universe, but I finally watched it, so yeah. It good. At first I was very confused on what was happening and what was the actual plot, but I think it was clearly designed like that, as the more episodes you watch, the more you understand. Also, the opening, Guns N' Roses, not this Guns N' Roses, but this Guns N' Roses, makes me hard every time. And I don't think I'm the only one. Also, this dude got a fedora, but he pulls it off. That's a rarity. One of my favorite anime from this era is Gurren Lagann, which is basically Trigger's first anime, but not really, but a lot of people who work on it formed trigger later, but that's for another video later. Anyway, time to talk about Row Fight the Power TM. Gurren Lagann is pretty much everything I love about anime. I love how over the top it is, I love the art, music, and I love how it can make a fight with a bunch of drills the coolest thing imaginable. If only drills were this cool in real life.
So what's happening is both drills are binding up and just basically shutting down. Oh, ouch, shoot, ouch, ouch, ouch. That was a terrible idea, that hurt. I fear it's over for the DeWalt.
And all of that is just some of the anime of that era. There's a lot more that I have not seen, that many people would probably kill me for. This era just seems to be fondly remembered by so many people, and a lot of people say it's the best era, or that anime is getting worse. And to that I say, no. I think the only reason many call it the Golden Age is due to this era having a massive rise in viewers of anime and the rest. The idea of the Golden Age of anime is kind of weird because it really doesn't exist. Some people say that it may be the 80s or the 90s, and absolutely no one is saying it's the 60s or 70s. Anime isn't getting worse, I'd actually say it's getting better. There has been so many good shows in the past decade, like Attack on Titan, Re:Zero, Anohana, Furry Bait, The Avengers, and whatever this is.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
Point is, anime isn't getting worse. It's just that there's more and more anime that's being made, so there's gonna be a lot more bad ones as well. But there has always been bad anime along with the good ones. It's always been perfectly balanced, like how things should be. I mean, just look at Mars of Destruction, a poor man's Evangelion, or School Days, which is what is basically a hentai turned horror story starring a guy who bleeds ink. Ghost stories. I have no jokes about this one. It's just...
I know now that it could never work between us. As much as we wanted to, it could never be. Not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black.
Anyway, let's not talk about that one. Now, I'm not trying to diss on the Golden Age. It is a very nostalgic era for many, and is full of a lot of great shows. But anime has never gone worse since then. And no matter what you say, it's still better than the 70s.
He's going over that cliff!
Alone for a while, I've been searching through the dark for traces of the love you left inside my lonely heart. To weave by picking up the pieces that remain.